Kat's done it again. She didn't just break him. She shattered him like glass. And somehow, we're all cheering her on. In episode 157 of Beyond the Gates, the Queen of Cold Revenge returns. And this time, it's not about love, it's about power. While Hayley stumbles through her world of wishful thinking, Kat is out here playing a game of emotional chess, and trust me, she's 3 moves ahead of everyone. The episode opens with that eerie quiet that only Beyond the Gates can pull off, the kind where you can feel something brewing beneath the surface. Everyone looks calm, but it's the kind of calm that hides explosions. Kat walks into the gala like she owns the room, dressed in her signature confidence. You can tell right away that she's not there to make peace. She's there for a reason, and that reason is Daniel. The music is slow, almost delicate, but there's a sharpness underneath it. You know how the show does it. Every sound, every look, every step has meaning. Kat doesn't waste words. Her silence speaks louder than any dialogue. She doesn't have to say, "I'm about to ruin you." The look in her eyes says it all. Daniel, on the other hand, looks tired. You can see that he's been through too much, emotionally wrecked but still trying to hold it together. It's that mix of guilt and confusion that makes him unpredictable. He spots Kat across the room and freezes. He knows what's coming, even if he won't admit it. Their eyes meet, and for a moment, everything stops. The laughter, the music, even Hayley's soft chatter in the background fades away. The director gives us that slow camera push, the kind that traps you in the tension. Kat smirks, just a tiny one, but it's the spark that lights the fuse. And then there's Hayley, sweet, naive, always believing that people can change. She's standing just a few feet away, completely unaware that she's part of the storm about to hit. She's talking to someone about forgiveness, about second chances, and you can't help but think, girl, wrong room, wrong time. It's heartbreaking and frustrating at the same time. The show paints her in soft colors, light tones that make her look almost angelic, but it also makes her look completely out of place in this world of schemes and emotional warfare. As the scene builds, you can feel the tension rising. Every frame feels heavy with what's unsaid. Kat finally moves toward Daniel, slow, deliberate, like a lion walking toward prey that doesn't realize it's already cornered. The way the lighting hits her face, half in shadow, half in light, tells the whole story. This isn't revenge driven by rage anymore. It's control, precision. She's breaking him not because she hates him, but because she knows she can. There's a difference between emotional reaction and strategic destruction, and Kat, at this point, has mastered that difference. When they finally speak, it's quiet, dangerously quiet. Kat's words are calm, even kind on the surface, but every syllable carries a blade. Daniel tries to smile, to play it off, but it's forced. You can see it in his jaw, in the way his eyes flicker. He's falling apart, and Kat knows it. The dialogue doesn't even matter as much as the pauses, those tiny seconds where both of them just stare, pretending this isn't war, when in reality, it's the most personal kind of battle. And through all this, Hayley just watches, not understanding that she's witnessing a takedown. She probably thinks they're making peace, that maybe there's still hope left. But we, the audience, we know better. We've seen Kat before. We've seen how she rebuilds her calm after chaos, how she sharpens her emotions into weapons. This isn't reconciliation. This is the setup. The scene ends with a line so subtle it might go unnoticed by casual viewers. But for those paying attention, it's everything. Kat looks at Daniel and says, "I hope you've learned something." And then she walks away, leaving him standing there, and you can see it in his face. The exact moment he realizes he's been broken again. It's not loud. It's not violent. It's cold, calculated, and almost beautiful in its cruelty. That's the magic of Kat. She doesn't destroy people with force. She does it with elegance. And as the camera fades to black, all we're left with is that haunting mix of admiration and fear. You can't help but think, good job, Kat. You did it again. Kat doesn't need to shout to be powerful. That's what makes her terrifying. The moment she walks away from Daniel, it's not just a scene change. It's a shift in power. You can feel it. The whole energy of the episode bends toward her. She's the kind of character who turns silence into dominance. Every step she takes feels like a move in a game only she understands. Daniel might still be standing there, pretending he's fine. But everyone watching knows the truth. He's just been checkmated. The next part of the episode takes place in the upper balcony of the gala hall, where Kat is alone for the first time. The city lights behind her glow like fireflies, soft and distant, but her expression is unreadable. The show loves doing this, framing Kat against a glittering background, as if the world itself is her stage. You can tell she's thinking, calculating her next move. Her phone buzzes. It's a message from an unknown number, a single line. You didn't have to do that. She reads it, smiles faintly, and puts the phone down. That smile isn't joy, it's victory. It's the satisfaction of knowing that she's still in control of a story everyone else is trying to survive. Downstairs, chaos brews quietly. Daniel tries to play it cool, talking to a few guests, pretending Kat's words didn't cut him open. But his voice trembles just enough to betray him. You can see it in his reflection on the champagne glass, that tiny flicker of pain that he tries to hide from everyone, especially from Hayley. And Hayley, bless her heart, tries to step in, asking if he's okay. He tells her, "I'm fine." That line, 3 letters, might be the biggest lie of the season. The audience knows it. Kat knows it. The only one who doesn't is Hayley, still stuck in her daydream that everything can be fixed with kindness. Kat's next move is subtle, almost invisible, but it changes everything. She doesn't attack Daniel directly. She lets his guilt do the work. Later that night, there's a scene where she's talking to another character, an old friend named Marcus, at the bar. Their conversation seems casual at first, but if you listen closely, it's full of hidden meanings. Marcus says, "You didn't have to go that far." Kat replies, "I didn't even start yet." That one line is the essence of who she is, a warning dressed as calmness. The writers know what they're doing here. They're showing us that Kat's strength isn't just in what she says. It's in what she chooses not to say. What makes this episode brilliant is how the camera mirrors Kat's control. Every time she appears on screen, the shot lingers, slow pans, tight close-ups, deliberate focus. It's like the show itself is hypnotized by her. The editing becomes part of her character. Even when she's not talking, the rhythm of the scene follows her energy. It's storytelling through silence, and it's one of Beyond the Gate's best tricks. Meanwhile, Hayley begins to unravel in her own quiet way. She keeps replaying Kat and Daniel's confrontation in her mind, trying to convince herself it wasn't what it looked like. You can almost feel her internal dialogue. Maybe Kat's just hurt. Maybe Daniel still loves me. It's painful to watch because we, the audience, know it's denial. Hayley represents that innocent hope that still believes love can fix broken people. But in Beyond the Gates, love is the reason people break in the first place. The real turning point comes when Daniel gets a message to an anonymous photo of him and Kat at the gala, mid-conversation. No caption, no sender, just the image. It's enough to make him spiral. The show doesn't reveal who sent it, but come on, we know Kat's fingerprints are all over it. That's her power. She doesn't just break hearts. She rewrites the narrative so that her victims destroy themselves. Then comes the balcony scene again. This time, Daniel confronts her. The lighting changes from golden to cold blue, almost icy. He says, "Why do you enjoy this?" And she just looks at him, emotionless. Her response is quiet but brutal. "Because you let me." That line lands like a thunderclap. It's not just about Daniel, it's about controlled choice and the painful truth that power only exists when someone gives it away. By the end of this section, the audience starts to question everything. Is Kat truly heartless, or is she punishing Daniel for something deeper? Did he deserve this? The show drops tiny hints, flashbacks, unfinished sentences, looks that linger too long, suggesting there's a history between them that no one fully understands. Maybe Kat's cruelty is a shield. Maybe Daniel's guilt isn't as innocent as it seems. The beauty of Beyond the Gates is that it refuses to give us clear heroes or villains, only damaged people trying to win a war of emotions. As the music swells, Kat watches Daniel walk away, shoulders heavy. And there's that brief flicker in her eyes, regret, maybe, or exhaustion. Whatever it is, it's gone in a second. She picks up her glass, takes a sip, and whispers under her breath, "One down." The audience leans in, wondering, one down. Who's next? There's something almost tragic about watching someone lose hope in slow motion. That's exactly what happens to Hayley in this episode. The slow, painful crumble of a girl who still believes that goodness wins. When the scene opens, the lighting around her has changed. Gone are the soft golds and gentle pinks that usually follow her. Now everything feels colder, washed in gray and silver tones. Even before she speaks, we can tell she's slipping emotionally, mentally, and maybe even spiritually. Hayley has always been the emotional anchor of the show, the kind heart in a sea of manipulation. But episode 157 shows us what happens when kindness meets cruelty head-on. She's sitting in her car after the gala, staring at her phone. The camera stays tight on her face, eyes glossy, lips trembling, hands gripping the steering wheel as if she's holding onto what's left of herself. The silence is heavy, broken only by the faint hum of the city outside. She scrolls through her messages, texts from Daniel, half-written drafts she never sent, and that one voice note she keeps replaying. It's Daniel telling her, "You mean more to me than she ever will." Those words used to be her comfort. Now, they sound like poison. The audience feels it, the ache of realizing someone lied not just to you, but to your belief in love itself. Then comes the first sign of collapse. The tears don't come right away. Instead, there's this numbness, that blank stare that says she's trying to process too much at once. She whispers to herself, "It wasn't supposed to be like this. It's not dramatic." It's quiet, raw, and devastating. That's what makes Hayley's downfall hit harder. It's not explosive. It's painfully human. She doesn't scream or throw things. She just breaks silently, piece by piece, back at her apartment. The mood turns haunting. The set designers outdo themselves. The once bright and cozy space now feels cluttered and claustrophobic. There's a wine glass on the table, half full, next to old notes from Daniel and photos taped to the fridge. Every object in the scene feels like a memory she can't let go of. She looks at a picture of the three of them, her, Daniel, and caught from before everything fell apart. For the first time, the audience sees how intertwined their pasts really were. That photo becomes the episode's emotional centerpiece, a reminder that betrayal always begins with closeness. The next morning, Hayley goes to her usual coffee shop, trying to pretend everything's normal. But nothing about her feels the same. The barista asks if she wants her usual, and she hesitates before answering, as if even the smallest choices now feel uncertain. The writers use this small moment brilliantly, showing how emotional trauma bleeds into everyday life. When she finally takes her coffee, her hands shake. A stranger bumps into her, spilling a few drops, and she flinches. That's how fragile she's become. Later in the day, she receives a message, a photo. It's the same one Daniel got earlier, him and Kat together at the gala. For Hayley, it's confirmation of her worst fear. The shot composition here is genius. The phone's reflection catches her face, and we see the exact second her heart breaks. She doesn't cry this time either. Instead, she laughs, that kind of hollow, tired laugh that tells you she's reached the edge. She whispers, "Of course it's her." And that's when the audience knows. This is no longer the soft, forgiving Hayley we met in season 1. As the episode progresses, Hayley's pain transforms. It's no longer confusion. It's anger dressed in sadness. She starts questioning everything, not just Daniel, but herself. Was I too easy to fool? She mutters while cleaning up the apartment, tearing down old pictures. The act isn't just symbolic, it's a visual rebirth. Every ripped photo, every torn note feels like a small reclaiming of her power, even if she doesn't fully understand it yet. But there's still that lingering trace of naivety, the part of her that still wants answers. Still wants to believe that people don't just destroy others for sport. The midpoint of the episode gives us a rare internal monologue. Hayley's thoughts echo faintly as she stares at her reflection. Maybe she's right. Maybe I was too dumb to see what was in front of me. It's heartbreaking, but it's also the turning point. This is the moment Hayley stops being just a victim. The show subtly shifts the tone here. The background music changes from somber piano to a low, pulsing beat. It's faint but noticeable. It's the sound of awakening. And yet, Kat still looms over her like a shadow. Even when she's not physically in the scene, her presence is everywhere, in the news articles, in the whispered gossip, in the way people look at Hayley with pity. It's a masterclass in writing, showing how a person's control can extend beyond proximity. Kat broke Daniel to prove a point, but with Hayley, it's different. She doesn't need to break her. She just needs to let her self-doubt do the work. By the final moments of this section, Hayley makes a decision. She gets into her car again, but this time, her expression is steady. No more tears, no more trembling hands. The softness is gone. She looks into the mirror and says, if she wants to play, I'll learn the rules. It's quiet, but powerful, the birth of a new Hayley. The one who's not here to be rescued, but to reclaim her story. As the screen fades to black, the audience can't tell if they should cheer or worry. Because when innocence turns into resolve, it doesn't just create strength, it creates danger. And in Beyond the Gates, every transformation has a price. When episode 157 hits its final act, the storm finally reaches Daniel. Up until now, he's been trying to hold everything together, pretending that Kat's words didn't cut deep, pretending that Hayley's distance didn't hurt, pretending that he's still the calm, collected man who always knew how to fix things. But this is where the mask slips. This is where Daniel stops being the composed center of the triangle and becomes its casualty. It starts simple, a quiet scene in his apartment. The place is spotless, almost unnaturally clean, like he's been trying to scrub away guilt itself. There's music playing, soft jazz, the kind you put on when you want to convince yourself you're fine. But the camera lingers on the small things, the untouched dinner, the pile of unopened letters, the faint sound of his phone buzzing over and over again. He doesn't answer. It's probably Hayley. Maybe Kat, maybe both. He just sits there, staring at a photo frame turned face down on the table. That single detail says it all. He's running from his own reflection. Then comes the scene that changes everything. Daniel gets up, walks to the mirror, and for a moment, it's like he doesn't recognize himself. His voice is low, tired. You let her do this to you again, he mutters. The reflection doesn't answer, but the silence feels heavy, like judgment. This is a man at war with his own choices. The audience finally sees the cracks beneath the charm, the insecurities, the guilt, the weakness he hides behind his polished exterior. He tries to laugh it off, but it turns into something closer to a sob. That's when the mask finally shatters. The episode flashes back, quick, disjointed cuts between the past and present. We see Daniel and Kat years ago, before everything fell apart. They were laughing, arguing playfully, to people who once trusted each other completely. The flashback isn't long, but it's enough to tell us that Kat's coldness wasn't born from nowhere. There was love once, deep, dangerous love, and Daniel was the one who broke it first. That's the cruel twist. The man she's destroying now is the man who once destroyed her. The revenge we've been watching all season suddenly feels less like cruelty and more like closure. When the flashback ends, Daniel's sitting on the floor, head in his hands. He looks smaller than he ever has before. The confident man from earlier episodes is gone. What's left is raw regret. The show doesn't give him dramatic music or long speeches, just the sound of his shallow breathing. Then his phone lights up again, and this time he answers. It's Hayley. Her voice is calm but firm, a tone we've never heard from her before. I saw the photo, she says. There's a pause. I'm not angry anymore. That single line cuts deeper than anything Kat ever said. Because forgiveness, when it's real, doesn't heal, it exposes. Daniel doesn't respond right away. When he finally does, his words are barely a whisper. I didn't mean for this to happen, but even he doesn't believe it. The scene fades out for a moment, and when we come back, he's outside, walking through the rain, no umbrella, no direction. The city lights blur around him, and the camera follows closely, almost uncomfortably close. Making the audience feel every ounce of his breakdown, he ends up at the river. The same place where he and Kot once made a promise never to hurt each other again. The irony is almost poetic. He leans on the railing, soaked, shivering, and says quietly, "You win, Kot." But as soon as he says it, there's this flicker of something, not defeat, but understanding. He finally realizes that Kot's break wasn't just about pain. It was about forcing him to confront himself. She didn't just want him to suffer. She wanted him to see. Meanwhile, the editing cuts back to Kot, alone in her penthouse, looking out at the same rain from a distance. She doesn't smile. She doesn't gloat. She just watches, motionless. For the first time, her face isn't cold. It's conflicted. There's the smallest sign of guilt, a flash of emotion that disappears as quickly as it appears. Maybe she feels sorry for him. Maybe she doesn't, but the point is clear. She's still human underneath the armor.